my God, we're live.
We are live.
Look at this behind us. If that's not life, I don't know what is.
Right.
If you are not here, you're missing a really good party. We're super happy to be a little bit elevated because there's a lot of people to come through here today. We are at Spirit in Lawrenceville, which, you know, it's one of those things where we go, oh, I remember this place kind of thing. So it's John and Rachel. You know the routine. We're doing the behind the scenes of the YaJagoff Podcast today.
And so we are in Lawrenceville, as Rachel said. It is called, well, you know all about the cookie table in Pittsburgh, right? The lure of the cookie table. This is drinking the cookie table. So can it get any better than a cookie table? Of course it can.
Yeah, but listen, this is how stupid.
Yes.
You guys know, not stupid, I'm literal. And I was like, oh, are there desserts here paired with it? And they were like, it's a collab. You know, like you can totally tell that it takes me a minute. Yeah, Colin and I both. I'm glad that he just kind of acknowledged, like, we both were confused. So
You think it's live? Hang on a second. Let me see.
tell us if we're live.
Keep talking just in case, I guess.
Okay. I think I got a notification. I'll tell you in a sec. No, I didn't get a notification. All right, so are we thinking we're live or no?
We're looking.
Do you want to record instead?
If we have a problem, sure. There we go. We're up.
We're up.
I just got a notification that we are up.
We're just delayed. So you guys already heard. So we are at Spirit in Lawrenceville, and it is Drink the Cookie Table, and it's super cool because it's a collaboration with beer and sweets.
Right.
And so we are super smart because we're going to talk to the guys from Fueled by Hops, but we're also going to talk to two ladies who know a lot about cookies, cookie tables, and more.
Bingo. And
Right.
the music this week is DJ Scottro.
Did you ask them? Did you
No,
ask
of
them?
course we didn't. So we
Okay.
just press them into
so
service.
we're just going to make them do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
what you'll
basically
hear
it.
in the background.
So, this is the behind the scenes,
right?
obviously.
And this podcast will come out a week from Tuesday. A week from Monday, actually. So this is how we start the podcast. Rorick Honda houses an inventory of pre-owned certified cars, but like Christmas coming, the dealership in Bloomfield just received a few new CRVs and passports.
Just in time to partake in the Jagoff's Hop in the Hold on. Just in time to partake in the Jagoff's Hop in to go shopping Black Friday contest at the mall at Robinson. You and three friends get picked and driven to the mall. Listen, you get picked up and driven to the mall for a morning fueled. John, I feel like you.
Yeah.
I am totally screwing
I'm so
this
glad
up.
I threw that over to you.
I'm doing it again. All right. Just in time to partake in the Jagoff's Hop in to go shopping Black Friday contest at the mall at Robinson. You and three friends get picked up and driven to the mall for a morning fuel up, a lunch, and shopping. All you have to do is tell us your story. So visit Rorick.com for details and car deals. And now we start the YaJagoff Podcast
From the Fueled by Hops Drink the Cookie Table in Lawrenceville. All right, so this is where you'll
about
hear
all my
some music
mess-ups?
on the edited and on the edited version, and this is where we say, as every week, if you're listening to the podcast for the very first time, we ask that you subscribe to it on iTunes or the Odyssey app, wherever you get podcasts. If you're on iTunes, we ask that you say something nice on the comments, right?
Right. I'm just looking at all the people over my left shoulder.
And I'm
It's
so
crazy.
glad we're up here.
I know.
Right.
Jasmine and I were saying that too. We're kind of happy. Yeah, it's a good thing. All right, so we talk always about what was on the blog, but make sure you're checking out the blog because not only are we picking up Jagoffs, but we've done a lot of fun stuff, especially with the holidays coming. We have some sponsored stuff with Mercer County, which are fun videos that you need to check out. John and I drive north about an hour, so it's not too bad, but we get to experience all these fun places in Mercer. So yeah, and we sort of do a TikTok. No one on our team has noticed this yet.
Right.
And our kids have not made fun. So,
That's right.
So far, so good.
Also, remember to listen to the Daily Dose, or no, it's called the Talk of the Town now with Kelly on 100.7.
Say it right. Say it
every
right.
day at 4:55, Talk of the Town.
Yeah.
And the Jagoff of the Week with the Lista on 100.7. If you have Jagoffs that you want to send to us, just do that.
Do it.
Tag us on Instagram, so whatever social media. The other thing is, don't forget that Pittsburgh's renowned dietitian Leslie Bonsi is part of the YaJagoff team.
We're pretty excited about that.
Right.
Actually, since don't listen, but since you're watching, tomorrow, if you check out Sprezzatura, who's also our partner, she's going to team up with Jen from Sprezzatura, and they're
Nice.
going to do some sass and saffron and sass, and it's going to be a fun little thing where we learn how to eat healthy and be sustainable.
And so that's what Leslie talks about every other week on G-Chat on the YaJagoff.com column. All right, here we go.
And if you didn't see the latest G-Chat, support all of these amazing foundations who are doing great work for Thanksgiving, like John Arlett and his 3-Quarter House, and our turkey trot that we're really excited is happening super soon.
All right. So are we going to talk to guests now, do you think?
Did I just talk too much? John
No,
gave
not
me
at
that-
all. But should we talk to guests right now?
Yeah.
All
Let's
right.
bring in Jasmine.
So bring
Choi.
in Jasmine. Jasmine,
Yeah.
come on in here.
We're so compact up
We'll
here
have
on
you
the
sit
stage.
in either one, or you can slide it in the middle. That's cool. We have wipes if you like to wipe.
Jasmine, if you've listened to prior podcasts, you'll hear us say, you were in our bullpen. And people think we're lying, but you were in our bullpen of guests for so long. And then, things happen where we go, oh, this person would work here. Or, oh, this person's on a time frame. And how on God's green earth we didn't come back to you, I don't know. But it was like I got hit in the head when it was drink the cookie table because you're like the person to talk to when it comes to that. So that was the longest welcome ever. But
Thank you so much. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. A little nervous with how many people there are.
Oh my gosh,
but
nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about.
So if anybody doesn't know anything about you, we'll have you talk about that. But I mean, you're iconic for making faces and making statements with faces on cookies. So talk a little bit about that, and then let's go into your background.
Yeah, sure. So the face cookies actually started really organically when a friend of mine asked if I could put her face on a cookie, and that's kind of like what started everything.
I love that it was that simple, right?
Yeah. And so I just realized how they kind of went viral very quickly. They were super popular, and the biggest thing for me is like, oh, people are really paying attention to these cookies. So if they're going to pay attention to something, I want to direct that attention towards something that matters to me, which was matters of representation and excluded history. So that's
smart.
kind of how it started.
What I love is the thought that the two would go together. In all seriousness, you are an artist. You were an artist, and so when she approached you for a reason. But the fact that you were able to take something like anti-racism and tie it into the art of cookies, but it worked. Talk about when you realized that actually worked.
Well, I love to say that I believe cookies are the most disarming, most inviting, most delicious platform possible, and so I think that's where the power lies in. Like who can refuse a cookie, right?
So true. So true.
So yeah, people, when they see my portrait cookies, they'll always do like a pause, a double take, and be like, wait, that's a cookie? And that pause, I think, is so powerful in getting people to pay attention to things that matter. So
they're really looking at it to kind of say like, why is this?
Right.
Right.
So Jasmine, let's talk about back up to the racism issues and Pacific Americans, right? So, and Asian Americans. Talk about that a little bit. And are you from Pittsburgh? And did you grow up here, or did you experience it with family another place and then move to Pittsburgh? How did all that work?
Right, yeah. So I was actually born and raised in Los Angeles, California. But I think just this year or last year, my time in Pittsburgh has eclipsed my time in Los Angeles. That's
a surprise.
Yeah. So I've been here since 2002. I actually came to Pittsburgh initially because of college. I left for a little bit and lived in Hawaii for a few years.
Why not?
And then I came back because Pittsburgh's a little bit more affordable to live
a little bit. I honeymooned in Hawaii. I can tell you.
And if you go for an hour drive, you're not running into the ocean, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I actually really miss that. Like when you're on the island, you are far from everything. So I missed the ability to drive everywhere here in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
But yeah, growing up, being born and raised in this country, I just felt very irrelevant because I just didn't see any representation at all of people who look like me, stories whose lived experiences mirrored my own. And so it was always an issue that I had. And my eyes weren't really open to Asian American history until I was 27 years old, when I just happened to have, I had the privilege to take advantage of a special summer college elective covering Asian American history.
And where did you go to college?
Actually, I've been to many different colleges, actually. But that particular course was at Chatham University.
Okay.
So
great school.
Yeah. And it was a very just emotional roller coaster when I took that course. It was empowering. It was angering that it took that long for me to actually learn all these stories. And so there was like sort of my pain point that really solidified and sort of directed my whole thoughts on what can I do to relieve this pain point. And then when the cookies came along, that just somehow came together very magically. So,
Now, were you a baker? Were you interested in baking, or did you have to learn cookie making to do this?
Well, I always loved to eat baking,
Okay.
like baked goods.
So if you love that, figure out how to make it work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So I always love to eat all the things that I make.
Okay.
But I didn't learn how to actually bake until high school. It just happened again organically when another girlfriend of mine at the time taught me. Her mother taught her, and that's kind of how it all passed on to me. And then in 2015 is when I started YummyHolic as an online bakery, and then that's just sort of how it all happened. Yeah.
I love that. Now, do people like to dunk their own faces in milk?
I knew
Do
he
they,
was going to ask.
Do they like
I
to,
knew
what
it.
is it?
dunk,
Dunk?
like dunking milk in coffee?
I have never seen that happen.
I love that you're entertaining him.
I am a dunker.
But no, I do know that a lot of folks will always want to preserve one in their freezer and then eat the other. So yeah.
But the dunking, I knew he was going to ask you that. I have all these serious, great questions, and then John wants to know about dunking. I knew it. I knew it.
Can you talk a little bit about, there was so much focus, and it's good, but you're a double whammy because you're female and you're Asian.
Mm-hmm.
So did you see a kind of compression from both sides as far as biases when you were trying to do whatever it is, you're an artist or in your any career, even in college?
Yeah, I would say overall,
Good question.
all the different pain points in my life definitely come from these intersectional parts of my identity. And so I think I was asked this with Leslie, who's our next guest, but yes, I believe that a lot of the cookies I ended up portraying happened to be a lot of women as well, and it just naturally, again, organically flows from my lived experience and whatever pain points that I want to address through my passion for cookies. Yeah.
And obviously we are going to bring Leslie in because of what you brought awareness to through cookies, such a unique, as we said, object to kind of expression, right?
Yeah.
You were able to be in the Heinz History Center, which is like, wow, I've made it,
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
that had to be a pivotal point for
Yes.
you. At what point did you realize, or what is it like now for women or Polynesian or Asian women to say, you're doing this for me? Because it has to be satisfying, because if it affected you, in some way, it's affected others.
Right.
And I'm sure you don't want to boast of yourself, but what was that aha moment where you said, this is working?
Well, I think when I was given the opportunity to speak at TEDx Pittsburgh was
Yes.
a huge pivotal moment for me, because once that video went up, that video also went viral, and I started hearing from people all over the country and actually all over the world, and not just from Asian Americans, but just any person who felt underrepresented
Right.
really
Great
reached
point.
out to me.
Yeah.
So I think what was most surprising was hearing from people who were not Asian, but also it was really nice to hear from families who are adoptive families who
That's a
run into
great-
that as
yes,
well.
yes.
And
But
yeah,
that's so true,
yeah.
because I think you might not relate for the same purpose, but
Right.
somehow it's identifiable to
Yes.
someone else.
Yeah,
where you go,
yeah,
wow,
yeah.
I feel that way because of this.
Right.
Thanks to you for bringing it to light. Yeah.
Go ahead.
You missed our girl conversation.
Yeah.
I know.
We
I know.
were trying to make sure we were
Technical
still good.
difficulties.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
If we want to, Leslie, if you want to come on in, you can start chatting with us once they kind of move. But in the meantime, what was it like to really, are you perfecting these cookies now? Like, are you looking at the first one you did when your friend asked you?
Definitely,
And now you're
definitely.
like, look at my Obama cookie here.
Definitely, because the first cookies the
Swipe
way
if you
that
wanna measure.
YummyHolic started prior to that is, I always had this hobby for baking, but I wanted to test if my hobby would be, like, if I had the grit to pursue that further than a hobby, more
Sure.
as like a career. And so I started making YouTube videos like back in the day where I animated cookies, and I love sharing that video because you could really see how my cookie art has really evolved since that point. So I've learned I picked up a lot of techniques along the way
I'm sure,
to keep
yeah.
improving it. And yeah, it's a fun craft.
I'm sure. So
Yeah.
welcome, Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
always
And I
pleasure.
apologize. I want to make sure people were still hearing us. So I wasn't ignoring you.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
Listen, I
You're
still want cookies. So.
So welcome, Leslie. Leslie's been here before, obviously. We've been at the Heinz
Did I get
History.
that right?
Przybylek.
But
I answered anything remotely
I
close.
had that.
Leslie, he tried.
Yeah, I knew
He
it wasn't
really tried.
Przybylek. I knew it wasn't Przybylek. Right.
This is a John and Rachel moment. Typically, John will say, Rach, I knew how you would react. I could put my answer in an envelope and open it. That's what I could have done. 1, he would have butchered your name. And 2, he would have asked about dunking the cookies. I knew going in that those were going to be 2 things. So Leslie, again, we're trying to introduce her. She is from the Heinz History Center. We have an amazing relationship with the folks over there. They do such great things. And we thought of you because we're here, at Drink the Cookie Table. And what could you tell us about the tradition of the cookie table? But then we thought, oh my gosh, you guys had partnered with Jasmine, and it makes sense. Talk a little bit about what that exhibit was like with Jasmine.
Well, it was a wonderful connection. That wasn't, for us, it wasn't the most obvious connection at first.
Right,
it was an exhibit about portraits from the National Portrait Gallery. But, at the same time that the exhibit was a real honor for us to get so many things from the Portrait Gallery, we were also aware that there were big gaps. And in fact, the exhibit was as much about who wasn't there and why as it was about who was included. And how could you turn down an opportunity to make part of that discussion be about cookies? I mean, It's just such a wonderful, creative way of expressing what's a really serious topic, and it helps people think about it and understand it in different ways. So for us, it was a wonderful convergence of creative inspiration and intellectual topics.
If we write enough letters to you, can we bring it back again?
Which part? The cookie part?
Yes.
The cookie part, absolutely. I can't answer the rest. That's
All right.
That's on the Smithsonian.
All right.
Listen, you don't
part,
know.
absolutely.
Rachel's an intense person.
Oh, Smithsonian, I'm coming.
She'll sit outside of Andy's office with a baseball bat in her hand like the old strikers. She'll be like, Andy, this is what we need. And she'll threaten people. But so, Jasmine, before we go over to Leslie, did you know that Pittsburgh was known for the cookie table when you decided to do the cookie, or cookies was just your thing?
Wait, can you
Did
say...
you know that Pittsburgh was known for this cookie table lore?
No, it's
So
something I
totally-
learned along the way.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah. and
That's-
unfortunately, I haven't been to enough weddings with a cookie table. I'd like to go to more. So.
Yeah, right.
So there you go. You guys need to invite
Invite me
Jasmine.
to
Don't
your
expect her to
wedding.
bring a card to everyone, but she wants a cookie.
And I was lucky. I was at a wedding just yesterday that had an excellent
Okay,
cookie table.
there you go.
What was it like? Talk about it.
It's just this wonderful piece of the local tradition. You walk into the hall, and there are tables filled with cookies. And people have spent months refining, will this recipe work if I freeze it? And you just look at the variety of cookies, the ethnic stories, the family stories that are connected. And of course, then they give you a box or a bag to take as many as you want home with you. And how can you argue with that?
With COVID killing everything, like getting together, Rachel's aunt got married, and they're in their, how old are they?
60s.
They're in their 60s.
Yeah.
They got married, and literally, there were so many cookies, and they, despite
They
the
are
fact
from
they got married.
Polish descent.
Okay.
And the cookie table was amazing.
He was
because,
like,
because
oh my gosh,
even in their
yeah.
60s, their relatives made cookies and had the containers ready to
it's
take,
so great.
all homemade. It wasn't like they all went out to Giant Eagle, and nothing against the Giant Eagle
Oh,
cookies.
Lord, no.
But
I mean,
but
it's a point of pride.
if Aunt Mabel knows those are from Giant Eagle, she kind of puts them in the
that's
back, right? Because they're all homemade Lady Locks and chocolate chips and all these other kind of cookies. So, given that you're from the History Center, what is the history? Do we know anything about the cookie table in Pittsburgh?
Well, it's one of those interesting food stories where it's clearly associated with Pittsburgh now, and it looks as if, and people have done a little bit of research trying to dig into the past of it, it looks as if while there are familiarities with the idea of a cookie table in other places besides Pittsburgh, mainly in Ohio, West Virginia, a little bit in New Jersey and Delaware, it's either connected to Italian, Eastern European traditions, Polish. There's a lot of discussion that perhaps it really gained ground during the Depression as a way for families to contribute, to kind of pool resources. Now, it's not with every ethnic tradition. I have to say, I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. My family's all from Pittsburgh. They were German background. Even weddings in the 70s, I never saw a cookie table.
Really?
Yeah, and so it's one of those things where it was very sort of segregated by certain kind of
Ethnicity,
ethnic
like you
groups.
said,
And
yeah.
they found that in doing research from Pennsylvania and Ohio, for example, that while Newcastle and Youngstown, and of course everyone in Pittsburgh now knows, Youngstown claims the cookie table too.
Is that right? We'll fight
we
them.
argue back and
That's
forth.
all right. We'll
Sorry,
fight them.
Youngstown.
It's a
Yeah,
baseball
that's not
bat.
true.
We're heading to the border with swords and
You
cookies.
go up to the Cleveland area,
Yes.
it's really not a part of their tradition
Yes.
in the same way. So
Yes. Wow.
there's something about it. I've also seen some research suggesting that perhaps it was related to some of the coal patch towns, that there's a piece of it that came out of not so much the cities, but the surrounding towns. It's huge in Newcastle, PA, too.
Yes, right. Yeah, you're right. Which is highly populated with Italians. So that could really make some sense.
You know,
yeah.
I know from different family and kind of work situations that there are other traditions for cookies in New Jersey, for example,
Yes.
Italian weddings. So it's probably something that morphed out of that. I think for us at the History Center, the other big question becomes, so when did people truly embrace it here? And you really begin to see it. It's by the 1980s and early 90s that it's all of a
that
sudden
recent.
talked about everywhere. And all of a sudden, it's now, you have to have it, and it's merged beyond just the Italian and the Eastern European
Correct.
communities. Now it's a Pittsburgh thing.
Yes.
It's all of Pittsburgh.
Well, and let's face
Nobody
it.
cares what the chicken piccata or the green beans almond
Right,
tastes
it
like.
better be-
You're
you better
rating
have
on
a
the
great
cookie
cookie
table.
table.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
But I was going to say, let's face it, the beauty also is, I think we've progressed as human beings where we came from a time where you used to, a German married a German, an Italian married an Italian, an Asian married an Asian. And now we're seeing so many beautiful blended families that you're seeing these traditions sort of roll in with each other, that it's becoming that thing, and Pittsburgh claims it, right? I mean, we
And
claim
when
anything that's cool.
And when Pittsburgh claims something,
Oh,
I mean, we don't
forget
let
about
go.
it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. It's like pierogies, for example.
Right.
Right.
No, that's a
No,
great
that's
point.
Because we even get that on the word Jagoff because, you know, we all know it as a term of endearment as well as, you know, a jerk. But the Chicagoans always try to claim the word Jagoff. And we're like, we'll fight you guys too. We'll fight Youngstown on the way up to Chicago about
John's
the cookie
angry
table.
today.
Right,
I don't know.
No, but the Chicago folks always, they use it in those Chicago
But
police
they
shows
use
and
it in a
fire
negative.
shows.
Our
Right,
connotation
they
is
use it
an embracement. You know,
Right.
like how you doing,
Yeah.
Jagoff. It's a Pittsburgh endearment. You know, like that kind of thing.
How you
Very-
doing, you Jagoff?
Yeah.
You know, but no. So the cookie table is so. It's amazing in that now the size of the cookie table is really what matters at this point. It
Yes.
really, it's like your wedding again really is measured on the size of the cookie table. But everybody seems to have a favorite cookie. Do you have a favorite cookie at a wedding? We can't ask Jasmine
you know,
because she still
I
needs
do
to be
have
invited.
one though.
She has one though.
That's
She's
a
Oh, yeah,
hard
okay.
question. I
Yeah.
love Buckeye, and I hate to say this again. I love Buckeyes. I know,
too.
that's
Top three,
Ohio.
top three.
Oh, I gotta say that's
Peanut
offensive,
butter and
isn't it?
chocolate is just
Yes.
it's a wonderful combination.
Yeah,
Yes.
I
yeah,
had some
that's my
wonderful
favorite.
cookies yesterday. You know, it's something where your family tradition is going to suggest which cookies are your favorite. I mean, something to me
Very
might
true.
have real meaning. A molasses cookie that my grandmother did, as
Right.
opposed to you might have another one that is just entirely a part of your family history.
Yeah, you know,
John
my-
thinks he's Italian and he's not.
No, I always wish I was, but my mother made lady locks as I was growing up. She sold them to people for weddings, and I never liked them. Everybody's like, your mom makes the best lady locks in the world. I'm like, I don't know.
They
I don't
never
eat
had
them.
faces
I
on
don't
them
eat
though.
No, they did not have faces. My mom was not that good.
No. What's your
She
favorite?
made-
Were you going with Buckeye?
Buckeye, yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Oh,
peanut butter
okay.
John,
chocolate.
what would you say?
Yeah.
Oh my God, I have to go an old style chocolate chip, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Or
too.
something
That's my,
like a chocolate. with-
Yeah.
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 I've
Yeah.
had
What-
some
what about you?
wonderful
Chocolates.
chocolate chip cookies too. They
Yeah.
really can't really beat that classic. But I will say, I love just frosted sugar cookies too. Portraits, any kind. The more frosting, the better.
Yeah. Speaking of, what was your favorite one as far as a portrait to do?
Oh,
I'm sure it's a
gosh,
cliche
yeah.
question, but I have to
Right,
know.
and I feel like my answer tends to change.
Sure.
But the one that comes up always is the Keanu Reeves cookie that I've done.
Really?
Yeah. Because it came at a time when I was so busy with life, and it proceeded like right before my brother was like, "What are you doing for fun lately?" And I couldn't answer that question right away. And then I happened to watch the film Always Be My Maybe on Netflix,
Oh, yeah.
which cameoed Keanu Reeves, and he gets punched in the face. So
yes!
I created a Keanu Reeves cookie animation of him getting punched in the face, and it was purely
We're taking
for
those to
fun.
Youngstown.
That is so funny.
Now down at the cookie table with the cookies.
Yeah,
But-
right.
Yeah, it's it's like my iconic cookie that reminds me of the importance of fun and maintaining fun to make this work sustainable for me. So
Jasmine, in your cookie making, I have 2 questions about this, kind of the behind the scenes of it. All the shapes are the shapes of, they don't make cookie cutters in all the shapes
Right,
of faces.
no.
So that's question 1.
Yeah.
How do you do that? 2, do you have to do something with the icing to make it palatable, to be art versus tasty? Is there any difference in what you do with the icing recipe?
Right. Well, I haven't really. All the feedback I've gotten as far as the taste on my cookies is that they're as good as the art part.
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah.
All right.
But there's nothing like. Yeah, actually, I just kind of let them dry out, and they kind of petrify over time, and I just frame them. But as far as the shapes of the cookies, when they're just like one-offs, I hand cut them with like an X-Acto knife.
Wow.
But I will print 3D cookie cutters for anything that I have to make multiples of. So yeah.
So you can't go to make a cake and say, I want the Jasmine Choi shape of of this head.
I don't know why there hasn't been a John and Rachel cookie
I
yet.
know.
Right?
I know. The
It would be
pressure's
Rachel.
on, Jasmine.
It would be
Yes,
Rachel punching
yes.
John in the face while we're in traffic.
You might have
I
given
think
her
so.
some ideas now.
Yeah.
There you
yeah.
go. Ladies, I could have you on over and over just to shoot the breeze about awesome things that people need to know about. This is truly the epitome of what people need to know about Pittsburgh. So thank you both for
And
coming on.
there are so many
Thank you
awesome
for having
Pittsburghers
us.
like that work at the Heinz History
Yes.
Center. But
Yes.
Jasmine, we want to take you. We're owning you as a Pittsburgher because you're
Yes.
an awesome person.
Yeah,
and,
2002 counts. That's good.
Right,
You're good. Yeah.
exactly,
All right.
so.
Anything else coming up you want to talk about, and where does everybody find you on social, website?
Yeah, so I've actually taken a break from doing orders for the public, but I just reopened. I'm now baking out of Fulton Commons, which is a new shared co-working kitchen out of Manchester in the north
Yes,
side.
that's awesome.
So people can visit my website at yummyholic.com if they want to order their own face cookies for special occasions. And yeah, that's pretty much
awesome.
it. Yeah.
Good for you. Leslie, what's going on at the History Center? A couple things?
I'll tell you, anybody who is interested in this kind of event that we have going on behind us with beer or cookies, we have 2 programs coming up in December that deal with holiday traditions and food traditions. December 2nd, there's a film and discussion program related to the Feast of the Seven Fishes, another great Italian program. So
We
check out
still
our
do it.
website. And then on December 14th, we're having a virtual program connected to the food and family related to the McGinnis Sisters stores that used to be on in the South Hill.
That's for the Irish,
Monroeville.
John. I can go to that
Why they
too.
have something.
And we'll be featuring someone from their family along with staff at the History Center, and we'll be having more about that very soon. But both
And more
of those would
Santa,
be
right?
Great programs.
Expect Santa this year?
Santa will be there in some capacity.
Okay.
And obviously it's HeinzHistoryCenter.org, right?
HeinzHistoryCenter.org.
Yep.
Yeah,
How about
nice.
I knew that?
That's all
Ladies,
right.
question of the day. This is the coveted question that gets tough. Don't get nervous.
Okay.
All right.
You're not allowed to jump off the side and back out of the question. Rachel will get mad.
All right. Do you wake up with a sweet hop? Get it? Sweet hop, like beer. Do you get up with a sweet hop to start your day, or is it a bitter break from your sleep? Basically, how do you wake up?
Sweet hop.
Are
I'm
you
a
a
morning
sweet hop?
person.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be more of a sweet hop person.
Okay, but you're not. You're a
Sometimes
bitter
it is
break
a bitter
from your
break
sleep.
when
All
it's
right.
cold and there's fog.
John, I think we're both sweet hop.
I think I'm a sweet hopper.
Yeah.
I'm not usually.
All right, you guys can hang around us more because
Yeah.
good
Excellent.
answers. Good answers.
Leslie, Jasmine, thank you so much.
Thank
we
you
really
so much for
appreciate you taking
having
time
us.
to do this.
It's always a pleasure.
The Heinz
You
History
know
Center,
so much.
you guys are always good.
We
to
love
us.
it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Cool.
So nice.
All right, so as we go to break, you're going to hear, I think, some custom music from DJ Scottro, who's also part of Fuel by Hops.
Okay.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to meet you. Always good to see you.
That was a great interview. Oh my gosh. They've been waiting. We talk too much. Take your time. We talk too much. Oh my gosh. You know, I was thinking about, I have a box right next to me. I was thinking about,
Like, check it out.
you are so good to us. I wear mine all the time. I tagged him in a picture because I wore mine.
Thank you. I had my Fuel by Hops. I had it taken to the dry cleaner and had medium starch in it, the collar and everything, dude. It's
the way to go, man.
Prepared.
Way to go.
Listen, I've worn mine out. I wear it constantly.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
So,
Look at
thanks
this
again.
event.
It's great. Came out great. Came out
It's
great.
fabulous. Yeah.
Yeah, we're super happy with how the turnout came, so it's perfect.
Just as a
Fantastic.
warning, we are on Facebook Live, so if you want to say hi to your mom, you can. Your
Hi, Mom.
And family members, that kind of thing.
Half of them are
Is
here
it-
right now.
Is it us every time we interview Fueled by Hops, Scotro leaves? What's
Yeah,
going on?
I
He
don't
gets
know.
lost.
He's hard to pin down.
He is so hard. No, we apologize. We
He
got
needed a
so,
beer.
There you go.
He needed some liquid courage, he said.
So if you're a Jagoff, you have not listened to the dual episode we did from
That was
Primanti
fun.
Brothers with
That was a lot of
Ryan
fun.
and Fueled
That was
by
a heck of a
Hops.
lot of fun.
So as you're listening to this, make sure you add to your notes. You need to go back and listen to that one because
Absolutely.
we talked all about the YaJagoff beer, and you gave us some beer education. So
You really
Yep.
did. Yeah.
So-
we used
There
it
he
to
is.
this day.
There he is.
now it's time to talk about Fueled by Hops.
Yes,
So
fueled.
tell us, this is your passion. You and Scotro teamed up now, and tell it's everything beer at this point. Would that be right?
We are essentially everything craft beer.
Yeah, a craft beer.
Craft beer.
John.
No Miller Lite here.
No Miller Lite,
Don't even
none of
stare
that.
at me.
No way, no how.
No,
Sorry, John and Rachel, that I'm late here. I had to go.
Yeah.
I had to fuel up.
he's a radio guy.
Before,
He doesn't
Yeah.
like the camera. He needs some liquid courage.
I
you
know.
know?
No, we thought it was just us. Every time we're supposed to interview you, you're gone.
Ah, come on. I got mouths to feed, Rach.
we get it.
Mouths
We
to
get
feed.
same. I have a Penn Stater. I get it.
Speaking
I get
of
it.
mouths to feed, Ryan, what did you just give us here?
I'm super excited about
Snickerdoodle?
this. Obviously, since we're doing a drink the cookie table event, we had to have a cookie table.
Yep.
We didn't want everybody's hands into a cookie table.
We
So-
did it at the same time.
John's face, his jaw just hit the floor. What is it?
This is like one of my favorite cookies ever.
Are they
How about
different cookies in every bag? Or
No,
what?
it's the same cookies and everything.
Wow.
I think.
So, and by the way, as we're oogling over these cookies, Ryan, you're listening to the podcast. It's a week later, so you're a Jagoff because you missed Fueled by Hops' Drink the Cookie Table.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
what you need to do is follow them because, Ryan, you guys, you have a podcast, you have a website.
Yep.
You guys
Lots
are
of great
going to be doing
merchandise.
more events like this. So
We're planning to
people
do
should
plenty
stay
more.
in touch with you at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drink the cookie table 2 will most likely happen.
Yeah.
Based on the success of this one. So
Yeah.
we want to do it and keep it super Pittsburgh. We're really proud of the event. We supported all local Pittsburgh businesses in this venture. So everything down to the ice that's being poured is locally purchased. The cookies were made by a company in New Kensington called Coralie Cupcakes. She uses a portion of her sales to support children with autism.
Oh,
So
I love
That's
that.
awesome.
we called her up and we said, we need some cookies. And she said, how many do you need? And I said, I need about 700 bags. And she almost fell over.
She's like, click.
She was like, we can do it. And she
That's
showed up this morning with,
awesome.
with all the
That's
cookies. So
That's awesome. You guys, talk about what made you decide this, though. I mean, there's so many Pittsburgh traditions. You could have done pierogies and brews. You could have done fries on that. Why the cookie table?
I don't know,
Fries
Ryan.
on
I
it.
think it's just a natural. It's a natural.
it was how can we do the most Pittsburgh beer festival? What is the most Pittsburgh
the
beer
Yinzerist?
festival?
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
Great word.
yeah, what's the most Yinzery festival?
How can we
Yinzery.
tap into the inner
That is so
Yinzer?
Yep.
And
Yep.
it's the wedding cookie table,
Yeah,
Right?
I was sitting around and I was
which is native to our area.
It-
Like
only
you
in
go
our area.
Anywhere else in the
You would be
country, nobody
shocked.
knows what you're talking
Leslie
about.
from the Heinz History Center was just on telling us that like it might have drifted down from Newcastle,
Yeah.
but the Youngstown folks are trying to claim
Erie.
it.
Erie
We're
has
like,
no
we'll
idea.
Fight you for that.
Get
right?
out.
yeah.
No, and listen, they said it really started in the late 80s, early 90s. That's
It picked
how.
Really?
up a lot of-
Yes.
Wow.
She said
That's
it
all the
picked up
stuff
a
we
lot,
found
got a lot
out.
of steam in the late 80s, which
Yeah.
I thought it was way longer than that. But so let's go back to beer because, as you know, we have the YaJagoff beer. We know
John,
nothing about
don't
beer.
shamelessly plug. Not
no,
with
no,
these guys.
we know nothing about beer.
Hey,
but
it's your show.
Available now at
guys-
North Country Brewing.
You guys know a lot about beer, so I've never been a fan. I'm like a beer guy.
Yeah,
if
yeah.
it has fruit juices and grapefruit juices, like la la la.
You like the
But-
dad beers.
So this is
Yeah.
a bunch of dessert beers. So can we talk about? We can talk all day about beer. Talk a little bit about dessert beers, I guess, because that's what we have here today, right?
that is essentially what we have. We
Yeah.
call
And
it
it's a
on.
collaboration, right? So that
Some of them are collabs. So
Okay.
what you're looking at behind me right now, I think is the best beer in the country at the current moment.
Yeah, some of the best beer makers in the country.
we have
absolutely.
Dewey Beer Company from Dewey Beach,
Delaware.
Delaware.
Yep.
We actually sent Scott down there. He had to drink with them for a couple hours,
I'm
but
sorry.
he got him to agree to
doing
come.
the legwork. Doing the
Tough
legwork.
job, Scott.
So they are well known for their sour beers. We have the Answer Brew Pub over here, who's well known for their sours and their different stouts that they do with like pastries and things like that in
Okay.
them.
Abomination.
Yeah,
they're
Abomination from
known for their
Connecticut
sours and
here.
pastry
Okay.
stouts. Yeah.
So we said, okay, let's mix it up, but typically at beer festivals, what happens is everybody goes to the big name breweries like
Sure.
Dewey and the Answer. And I said, this is a Pittsburgh beer festival. These guys are the supporting cast. The real true star of the show is the Pittsburgh breweries. So we said, okay, let's team up the breweries with the iconic Pittsburgh dessert makers, and let's make collaboration beers all over the city.
Yeah.
And they're able to continue to sell those beers beyond this festival. So
Crazy.
we're creating a whole new pipeline of beer in Pittsburgh.
Right. That's brilliant.
Yeah, we have a Saris beer out there. Mondays and Saris did a beer together. Arboretum Trail did one with pastries a la carte. We have, I can't even think of all. There's so many of
don't
them out
worry.
there.
This is how literal I am. I said, Colin, I think Oakmont is here. I'd love to interview them because we've not interviewed anybody from Oakmont. And he goes, well, apparently it's a collab. I was like, maybe I should read a little more so that I understand.
Ryan, is
But
there
I can't get tiramisu right
I
now.
was just going to say, is there a tiramisu beer here by
No,
any
it is. It's their Chew Billy cookie.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they did their Chew Billy cookie.
No,
So-
it's so smart.
What is go ahead.
This is the perfect time of year for this type of festival.
Yes.
too.
This is the holiday kickoff right here.
Yeah, it's
My
a
opinion.
holiday kickoff in cold weather. You drink the darker, sweeter beers.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you timed it perfectly.
Yeah, I think we
Ryan.
did.
That's the idea, Ryan, as you said, create more beers. So if you don't drink a beer after a hockey game, you don't drink this kind of beer after a hockey
Right.
game.
Yeah, this
is
is-
like wine drinking. Like
Yeah,
this
this
is like
is
celebrating.
sipping- yeah,
sipping
right.
beer.
Give
Yeah.
us a little bit of etiquette about dessert beers, I guess.
Well, actually, Scott's now the cellarman
Yeah.
at
Yeah.
Necromancer,
I'm
so he's now
Cellarman at
qualified.
Necromancer now. So dessert beers are. So you're a dad beer type of guy.
Yeah, that's right.
So this might be more of an acquired taste for a person that drinks dad beers. So dessert beers are generally high in alcohol content, very sweet, and very heavy.
So very similar to what's the wine that's very sweet and very a dessert wine?
I don't know anything about
Port-
wine.
I don't
port
know
wine.
wine.
I'm
wine.
terrible.
Port wine is very heavy.
Okay.
After
Yeah.
dinner, very sweet. Okay.
You could draw that comparison. But
Okay.
yes,
It's the port wine of beer.
It's,
yeah, I got you.
They are generally a cold weather beer, although it's always stout season.
It is always stout.
But yeah, it's stouts, and they do pastry stouts, pastry sours, and it's incorporating extra sugar into your beer, which is why we did a lot of these collaborations. We're incorporating cookies and pastries into these beers to create something that you can't find on the shelves at your local beer distributor.
So help me out this. What then makes it a beer? Right?
Well, it's
Because
brewed.
it's made by, it's brewed.
Yeah, it's brewed.
Yeah.
So there's stuff in it, though.
It's still a normal brewing process.
But does
Yeah,
it
I
take
see.
longer? Is the process a different length of
It
time? or
depends
no?
on the style.
Yeah, depends on the
Okay.
style.
Stouts don't generally take too long to brew. Sours take longer to brew.
Sure.
And it all depends on the type of ingredients you use, the type of yeasts you use,
Sure.
how much sugar you introduce into the
Right.
recipe.
Okay.
So it can go on a sliding, it's a sliding scale.
Okay.
Yep.
So I'm not a beer drinker, even though we have a beer and no desire.
Come on, Rach.
I know, but do you want to know if I drink a beer, I drink a Guinness. Like that's
Yeah.
my drink.
That
That's-
was my
You would
favorite
love it
beer
out there.
forever.
That's what I'm
You need to
wondering.
grab a glass and
I
go
know.
to town,
I think we're
because you
gonna
would love
get
it.
in line. Yeah.
Well, you have
No,
to.
I think for sure.
What are you drinking right now, Scott? What do you have?
Right now, I am drinking Hop Farms Oblivion.
Yeah, they did this one with, and I always butcher this name, but it's Mon Ami chocolate in the Strip District.
You said that beautifully.
Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was super
Mon ami.
romantic.
All right,
yeah.
perfect.
Yeah.
Is that my love or my friend?
I have no idea.
What language
or
is it?
one-
French.
My friend.
My friend.
Mon ami.
Mon
I
ami.
took Spanish.
So this one is actually made with a very high-end chocolate.
Yeah.
I don't
you
know
can
all
taste
specifics, but it is. You can go to the booth and ask them specifically.
I really want to try.
but
This
it's a
dark
really
chocolate?
high-end.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's single something chocolate. Like this is a really big deal. This beer, like they made a big fuss about it.
So
So,
can you purchase or no? Is it just
almost
like
all the beers that you see
tasting?
here from Pittsburgh breweries will be available for purchase in their tap rooms.
At their
We are
locations,
also
yes.
doing
Gotcha.
a post-festival event at Mike's Beer Bar
We love
in
it
the
there.
Strip District.
Yeah.
He's going to pick up some of these beers as well. Like I said, these are beers. We're going to see these beers around for
Yeah.
a long time.
Thank you.
No, go ahead.
Thank you to Mike's, by the way. They're
they've been very
they're our
great
main
to us.
sponsor,
Yes.
right?
Good.
The main event sponsor.
Great
Yes, great
guy,
guys.
Yeah.
And so people are listening. They don't know where they haven't been able to try all of this stuff. Can they go to Fuel by Hops website and find a link to every brewery that's going to?
Yeah, they can go to Fuel by Hops. hit the drink the cookie table tab. It'll give you all the information,
So
get you
that
to all
way
the
we can
breweries.
know,
Super
look and
easy,
see
yeah.
what
Super easy.
breweries and whatever
Yep.
ones we're talking
Yep.
about. That's awesome. You guys are.
Can we
crushing
end
the
early
beer
so I could go
world.
try? I mean,
Right.
Come
I'm
check it
just gonna
out.
Go in
We
between
need a flight.
sessions.
We need to get a flight together for Rachel.
Seriously,
Yeah.
right.
We
I
need
mean,
a
okay.
number of beers to line up
I
in
love
front of
it.
Rachel and
I
John
love
here.
to try to be convinced too. I don't know.
Get out there,
I don't
man.
want to be left out. That's for sure. I think I could probably go to a dessert beer before I go to a sour beer.
There is.
Same.
It is not all dessert beer out there. There is
Right.
some IPAs and some, I think, some lagers lingering around out there.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but we asked them
Did
to
you hear
break
how
it
he
up
said
a little
lager?
bit.
It was
He's
a
like-
little
he's like,
poo-pooey.
yeah,
This
very
isn't the lager
patronizing.
day. You know what I mean?
Patronizing.
Because
Yeah.
it's
This
ours.
is.
I feel
This
like,
is.
yeah.
I'm not pooping. I love
Do not
lagers,
discriminate, Ryan.
but today is not lager day in
It's
Pittsburgh.
not lager day.
It is. It is
I get
dessert
it.
beer
It
day
is
in
dessert
Pittsburgh.
beer day.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and kudos to you guys because I love, we got to talk to you, Ryan, at the Permanis episode where we did the dual podcast. And we got to talk and learn a little bit more about the process of beer because the guys at North Country didn't tell us anything. They just slapped our label on and said, get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
So you kind of helped us figure that process out. But what I love is since we've met you, we've seen you're around constantly. Like people want you at their locations.
Yeah, we are. I mean, we're Pittsburgh based, and
Yeah.
we're starting to expand beyond that right now at this point. But I mean, my passion, and I know Scott's passion, is just supporting the local craft beer scene.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
And
I
there's
love.
so many, right?
Yeah, everybody keeps asking me what beer am I most excited about?
Yeah.
It's Monday's Brewing, which is one of the newest breweries in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
They did a beer with Ceres's. It is now in its, I think, 7th iteration. This collaboration has been going on since June.
Wow.
Ceres and Mondays have been going back and forth to perfect the recipe. I mean, it is one of the most technically sound beers you're going to drink here.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it is made with their dark chocolate, and it's
You
an
know,
amazing beer.
Let's
It's the
try
only
it.
one I've had
I
so
have
far.
to try
I've
it.
only had
I
one
love
beer so
dark
far.
chocolate. All
Yeah.
right, I have to try that.
Scott, what about you? Since we're joking that you weren't with us the last time, tell us what you've been doing because you actually are involved in beer kind of both ways, right? So beer is your life and talking about it is your life.
I was in radio for a long time, as you guys know, and I found my way into the craft beer community a few years back. I started home brewing, and then the pandemic brought Ryan and I together. Ryan doesn't know anything about broadcasting,
Nothing.
so
Absolutely
he needed
nothing.
somebody to hold his hand and
Oh.
walk
I don't
him
even know what
through
an
all this
XLR
stuff.
cable is. I have
Gotcha.
no idea.
Same.
Yeah, same.
He's right here.
So we hooked up over the pandemic, and we've been doing it for over a year now, and it's
Yeah, we've
been
been on a little
awesome,
break
you know?
for the fall. Like we took a little fall
Yeah,
breather.
Well, you got a baby on the way.
I got a
He's about
baby
to be
coming. We got a
daddy here
festival, but
soon.
we're kicking it back up. We're gonna
Yeah.
kick it back
That's
up.
awesome.
Yeah, we'll be back.
But,
Well, John just became a grandfather. So
Oh,
there's
really?
Yeah.
My wife is actually.
Yeah,
I know she had to go to the store and get bags, but
Okay, okay.
she is here somewhere.
So much easier.
Oh,
to
How
that's
long?
awesome.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
But Scott, go ahead, go back to it. So you're
So I am now fully immersed in the craft beer community.
Yeah.
I'm making beer now with a great team at Necromancer Brewing Company.
One of their
on
beers is
Babcock
here right now. The
Boulevard.
breakfast
Go
stouts here.
Can we have a podcast there? I'd love
Absolutely,
to go there.
yeah,
We should totally
yeah.
go.
We
It's in my backyard.
Yeah, right, yeah. We're
Yeah.
right down the street from you.
Yes.
So anytime you guys want to come by, anybody listening, our tap room's open from Thursday through Sunday, and we are a company that does some of these beers that are being consumed here today, but we also do traditional styles. Necromancer means one who raises the dead. So we are resurrecting old recipes that you can't find anymore.
I love
Okay.
that.
So
That's awesome.
it's a really cool concept, and our head brewer Lauren Hughes is outstanding.
Amazing brewer.
She's been in the
One of the best in
industry
Pittsburgh.
for over 20 years, and has worked at some of the biggest craft breweries in America. She worked at Penn Brewery
Yep.
most recently for a pretty long time.
Okay.
She's worked at other places around the country, and she really knows her stuff. And the team that is that comprises Necromancer is amazing. I'm just so blessed to be working with
That's pretty
a
awesome.
team of people like this, and to still be able to do what I do with Ryan is pretty awesome too. We
Yep.
we
I
get
love
to
it.
share a love of craft beer and go out and represent Pittsburgh in ways like
We
Drink
also
the
get
Cookie
hammered
Table.
on Zoom together every Sunday, so that's cool
Yeah.
too.
I heard, yeah.
That's nice.
I've noticed too, and I admit, like I said, that I'm not a huge beer drinker, but my husband does a good job, so I guess I'm by proxy in some way.
Sure.
But essentially, it seems like Pittsburgh, typical Pittsburgh style, you can kind of be in a room with different beer breweries who exist perfectly fine,
Yep.
right? It's like a community.
The community
It's
is
really
amazing.
fun.
It's a fraternity.
I will
It's a fraternity.
say that
Yeah.
like there's literally no beef in the
Right,
beer
that's what I mean.
world.
There's not a big competition.
So
or
I don't want to name any names, but I will say one of the breweries here tonight had equipment issues, and they weren't able to get their beer put together. 2 other breweries stepped up.
They hopped
One
in.
brewery brewed one of their beers, and the other one stepped up and brewed the other one
So
for
it's
them.
always how can I help?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
What can
awesome.
I do?
and they got here.
So take your expert hats on for a minute. When will the microbreweries stop? Have we reached a point of saturation yet?
No,
Or no, there's
no.
so much differentiation.
I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean,
It's going to slow down. I mean,
Yes.
we're not going to be opening as many breweries. That'll slow down, but I don't see it stopping anytime soon.
But it's interesting that breweries might be the anchor place of a blighted community.
Yeah.
Right? They walk into Sharpsburg, they walk into Stowe Township, and they become a microbrewery, and things kind of build out over
They
that.
built,
That's kinda
yeah.
interesting.
It's
right.
a
They
source of
revitalize
expansion.
communities, yeah.
Absolutely.
and we have a ton of those communities in Western Pennsylvania
Yeah.
that
Listen,
need that.
if you can find a way to separate yourself from the guy that's 2 doors down, you can coexist in the same
Right.
space.
Right.
Right.
Because the individuality in brewing is exponential. You
Yeah.
know, there's just so many different takes on every single kind of style.
Right.
And even the marketing, plays in.
Sure.
Even if your beer is not the best in town, if you
Yep.
have the right atmosphere and you have the right marketing and your beer's good, you can exist in this scene.
I think that moving forward, we're going to see more breweries specialize in things.
That's
Yeah.
a good point.
As
yeah.
opposed to doing everything. So just like a restaurant, this restaurant's Vietnamese, this one's Russian. They don't do every dessert, every cuisine. And we're already seeing that happening. The first,
Right.
pretty much all lager brewery is opening in
Okay.
Homestead in the next couple months.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we're starting to see that. We're starting to see breweries just, hey, we love doing sours. We're really good at them. We're just going to keep focusing there.
Right.
And we'll see that
John,
start to
don't
happen.
go there.
Yeah.
You don't like it.
You'll
Sorry.
love the lager one in Homestead, though. I can't remember the name. It's escaping
The
me.
Tad
We need
beer.
a log jammer lager. That's what
Ah,
we need.
yeah, yeah,
A
yeah.
log
Jammer lager.
Listen,
I like
talk
that.
about these cookies because the it's a snickerdoodle, I think.
Yeah, it is.
I really
Amazing.
don't know.
I was
It
trying
is
to
a
see.
Yeah,
it.
that's a
I gave her,
snickerdoodle.
she had
Say
some of the places,
Poor Lee.
Poor Lee Cupcakes in New
Okay.
Kent. It was really important to us that we supported local 100% here.
yeah.
So awesome.
Everything down to the ice, down to the we got Scott here. He's local. He's the DJ.
The
Everything we
glasses
could
are
do.
made in PA, right? I mean,
The glasses are the only thing not made in Pennsylvania.
well, they're designed in Pennsylvania, right?
That's enough. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
enough,
the,
right?
The
We'll
ice
take
place,
it.
the cold trucks, the people that provided a lot of the merch and stuff. It's all
Yeah.
Western Pennsylvania.
love it.
provided.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's,
This is
it's
great.
so awesome.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to see how you guys have grown. You're becoming sort of like the ipso facto experts of where to figure out beer in Pittsburgh.
It's
That's
when you
pretty
let your
cool.
passion ride through your business. This is what
Yeah.
happens. That's why.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, there are people that know more than us,
Yep.
and
You don't
a lot
admit
of those
that
people
now.
are here today.
no, I admit it.
We get it.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
get
admit
it.
it.
But you're pulling all of those people together.
That's right.
what it is,
That's
yeah.
exactly
We're-
right.
We're
yeah.
bringing them
We're the
together,
catalyst for
which
Provide a
feels
platform,
really good.
yeah.
Yep. We're bringing
We
the
love
community.
it.
We're making the community. So that's
We
what's
love
cool.
it.
Yep.
You
We
guys,
love it.
it's always such a pleasure. We have to
Man.
do more cross-pollination because then we get
Yeah.
to drink.
Right.
I know there's
And-
always
and
beer
learn
involved.
more. I can have conversations with my husband now.
The next
learn more
time
about
we
beer.
need-
There you go.
Listen, the next time we do this cookie table event, we need to have a dairy farmer on so they bring milk.
Oh my God!
Right, so we
That's
can
what John
dunk.
asked.
I
He
have
said
to
to
dunk.
Jasmine Choi. If you remember, Jasmine Choi is the person who did the iconic. She was at the Heinz History Center with the Obama face of the
Oh,
the
yeah.
cookie, like of his face.
Yeah,
I knew he was going to ask that damn
Dude,
question.
I'm a dunker. That's all there is to
He's
it.
a dunker.
Except when it comes to
Listen,
beer.
so here's the question of the day. But before we get to the question of the day, where does everybody find you guys so that they can find out more about what you're doing and what beer is fabulous?
Yeah. Fueledbyhops.com is where you can find pretty much
Easy.
everything.
Yeah.
All the links to the podcast, the links to drinks.
Social
Table,
media is
that's
all on
right
there.
on
Yeah.
Okay.
You guys have
fueledbyhops.com.
swag. You'll have stuff. Again, all
Tons.
this crap's out there on cargo ships. Nobody can get Christmas gifts. They can go to your
Oh,
website
so
and get Christmas
that's a
gifts.
funny story. Our beanies that we just brought in for this event arrived yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Really?
We ordered them in August.
Okay.
right
my
in the
God.
nick
The
of
trucks
time.
came just in time, like
just in
literally
time.
to the hour. So it was cool.
All right, coveted question of the day. Do you wake up with a Or do you start the day, meaning like it's a bitter break from my sleep, so you're kind of grumpy? Are you a morning person?
I'm up and at 'em.
Okay, so you're a sweet hopper.
I'm a sweet hopper.
You're not.
I hate mornings, but I have to be up early because I have young children.
Kids, yeah, I remember those days.
And they are up at the crack of dawn.
Well,
So-
if it helps, when they go away to college, they call you at 11:30, like it's 3 in the afternoon, and you have to be ready. Hey, Mom, what are you doing? Nothing. What's going on? You're just happy to talk.
Right.
Both of my kids are now in grade school full time, so I got that going for me.
There you go. There you go.
So you're saying there was a reason why you were the afternoon drive guy, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I was the night guy on radio for a reason.
Picking his kids up from school.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And I don't know if he told you, but we put you on the spot. We always have a local musician, but we're going to have like some kind of MP3 from you that we
a
need
little
like
music mix from you.
little
All right,
mix
yeah. Hey,
that
I'd be
everybody will
happy to
hear in between.
Copyrights or
I'd be
whatever.
happy to
Awesome.
lend my tunes.
Nice.
Awesome. All right, we good?
So that's it. We're
That's
good.
it, you guys.
So we have to
Thank you
thank
so
everybody
much.
for listening to the podcast.
Heck
and
yeah.
thanks to Fueled by Hops for even organizing this and inviting us here. And thanks to Colin, who's behind the scenes, Tracy, who organized the guests to get here. Thanks to Brady at the Heinz History Center for always giving us someone. And thanks to Jasmine Choi. That was awesome that she showed up here.
Yeah.
And thanks to you guys. We really appreciate it.
We
thank you so much for coming
appreciate
out.
you
Let's
guys.
go drink.
Thanks to Rorick Honda, who houses an inventory of pre-owned certified cars, but like Christmas coming, the dealership in Bloomfield just received a few new CRVs and passports.
Just in time to partake in the Jagoff's Hoppin' Till You Shopping Black Friday contest at the mall at Robinson. Yes, we're going to take you shopping in a Honda Odyssey. You and 3 friends get picked up and driven to the mall for morning fuel up, lunch, and shopping. All you have to do is tell us your story about Black Friday shopping. Visit Rorick.com for all of the vehicle needs and
Have a great
deals.
Saturday.
Awesome, guys.